Ladies and gentlemen, Southside fans, welcome to Southside 5 Questions. At this time, I am joined by CZW heavyweight champion, Drew Gulak. Drew, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you. Are you ready for your 5 questions?
I was born ready for 5 questions. I don't know, if it was 4 questions, I'd be like ready to go, but 5 is a little much. So.
Yeah. Not as bad as 6,
I'm ready.
but look at that.
6, I wouldn't do it. You got to talk to my agent.
That's
for
true.
6. 5 questions, though. I'm good.
The first question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like being CZW champion puts pressure on you to do death matches?
What do you mean by do death matches?
Well, participate in death matches. That's what CZW is famous for.
Well, the thing is, me being the champion of Combat Zone Wrestling has kind of ushered in a new era of thought process. I'm not opposed to death matches. That is what CZW is known for, which is what you just said. But I do feel like my background is more of the wrestling kind, and I am more suited for those matches. However, I will say that if there is an absolute reason for me to break something over somebody's head, this is the place to do it, and I'm going to do it.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Now, you had a barbed wire match with Danny Havoc.
I did.
How do you feel about that? And does that make you want to participate more in the death matches, or would you rather stick with your background?
I would think, if anything, that makes me not want to participate in them more, because it hurt a lot. But that was one of those situations I was talking about where I had to, you know, I wanted to hurt him more. I needed to get him in a situation where he was feeling a lot of pain. Because I don't know, it's a long story, but there was a lot of animosity there, and it required that kind of match.
Okay. So, how do you feel about Nick Gage coming back to CZW?
What are you talking about?
According to DJ Hyde, he will be returning.
When?
I think he gave it early next year.
No, he's not. That doesn't make any sense.
No?
No. I don't. Where did you hear that from?
I've been asked by the Southside fans to ask these questions. Earlier on, I interviewed DJ Hyde, which he said to that very question, he will be returning next year. Or he'll be invited back, and it's his choice to come.
I think he was a little excited, and he was talking to you about that. There's no chance he's coming back. All right, for you fans who don't know the full extent of this, one of our employees, a guy who used to hold this belt, he's the first guy to ever hold this belt. You know what he did? He went and robbed a bank. And threatened,
I didn't know he did that.
He robbed a bank, and he threatened a girl's life to do so, and he was given 5 years in jail. You can't just hire someone back like that who's stained the company. You know, like if this were any like standard organization or a job or a workplace, one of your employees goes out there and does something so irresponsible like that, are you gonna hire him back? No.
I personally wouldn't, but
you'd be lucky enough not to do something like to tarnish his name. You know, you don't really speak about those incidents. We feel like though it's a really bad incident, everybody kind of knows about it. Who's talked about CZW, who's looked it up. So it's not something that we hide. But there's no chance he's ever gonna come back. That doesn't make any sense. And if that's something DJ said, I think he was just, I don't know, a little loopy from his match, or a little off the cuff, or a little excited.
A little bit too excited.
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty.
He gets around ladies sometimes, and you know, like he doesn't focus.
You should say that.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on. Did you learn anything from your first tour of the UK a couple of years ago? What was the biggest thing you learned?
I learned a lot of things. I grew as a wrestler, I think, more than anything. I learned how to really it was the first experience in my career where I had to wrestle every day. I had to go every day and wrestle in front of a new audience every single day. Had to put the ring up. It was hard work, and it's the goal of, I think, everybody in this business to kind of work a schedule like that at some point.
Yeah.
And it was a wake-up call. So in that sense, I learned so many things, so many wonderful things, and I recommend it to anybody who's a young wrestler starting out, or anybody who wants to be in the business, or who has never had the chance to do that kind of a thing.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So being in the UK a couple of times now, have you scouted any UK talent that you would like to face?
That's a good question. There's a guy named Jack Gallagher that I saw a couple years ago. I think me and him would have a very, very good match. We would mesh very well. I would love to wrestle Martin Kirby. I think he's fantastic, but he's a little crazy. But I think he's just he's being underrated right now because he's being overlooked for that kind of talent that he has in the ring. Mark Haskins, of course.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. No, these are some of the guys. You asked me a question, and like these are names that I think people who would at least be viable contenders to hold a title like this. And I would love a chance to wrestle them at some point. If not in Southside, somewhere else.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us
you're
today.
welcome.
It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
For a better CZW.